Mr. Mohamed Irshad.
Mr. Speaker, sir, after 2 years in the making, the POFMA bill is timely in light of global events and trends we are witnessing today. The tabling of the bill comes after regulatory moves around the world, such as Germany, France, and more recently Australia. This bill is comprehensive, well considered, globally researched, and above all, publicly consulted and reviewed. The bill commendably sets out to protect Singaporeans in a highly polarized world against the threat of online falsehood. As highlighted by the Honourable Minister, globally we are witnessing countries grappling with the problem of online falsehood, which aims to do many things, including interfering in election as well as democratic processes, undermining public institutions, exploiting fault lines, sowing discord amongst racial and religious communities, and ultimately weakening countries through national security threats, both real and imaginary. Therefore, it is important that we do not politicize the bill and make sure that we take an objective stand. The bill is one that is of immense significance to safeguard Singapore's future, especially in today's world where there is an overload of information on a multitude of platforms that threatens to undermine much of our traditional forms of communication and reliable information sources. Today I wish to speak on two areas in relation to the proposed bill. Number one, safeguarding racial and religious harmony, and secondly, on technological trends in disseminating online falsehood. On safeguarding racial and religious harmony, last year I presented at the Select Committee on Deliberate Online Falsehood. Representing my interfaith non-profit organization Rose of Peace, I shared that given the destructive force of online falsehood in the digital age, it has the potential to exploit our social fault lines and can undermine our social cohesion. If not countered, it can erode the multiracial and multi-religious fabric of our society and our forefathers who have fought to achieve this and preserve this. There needs to be a clear plan of action involving a whole-of-nation effort to combat online falsehood or fake news. As Honourable Minister for Law and Home Affairs had described in a Select Committee public hearing last year, tackling fake news will require a multi-pronged approach which takes into consideration effective legislation and government policies, as well as efforts by corporations, non-profit organizations, religious organizations, and civil society and ordinary citizens. It is important for ordinary citizens to be equipped with the knowledge and tools to discern and deal with fake news. Only when individuals are able to take ownership and understand the consequence of deliberate online falsehood are we able to safeguard our social well-being and be a more resilient society. Mr. Speaker, allow me to share several examples of online falsehood manifesting in inciting real-world violence. In 2014, Myanmar witnessed 2 days of violence, leaving 2 dead and dozens injured while mosques being burnt. It was caused by a falsehood from a Buddhist woman who was paid to make false rape claim against 2 Muslim brothers. In 2016, 12 Buddhist temples in northern Sumatra of Indonesia were plundered and burned down by a Muslim mob in 24 hours with billions of rupiah in losses. Again, it was caused by a falsehood that a Chinese woman had complained about noise from a mosque and threw items at it and expelled the prayer leader and disrupted prayers. Just last year in 2018, Sri Lanka witnessed widespread ethnic violence with mosques burnt, people attacked, and the government declaring a state of emergency and temporarily banning social media platforms. It is the result of falsehood, and the Muslim minority, the falsehood insinuated that the Muslim minority were trying to sterilize the Sinhalese majority. More recently, the tragic mosque shooting in Christchurch was socially engineered for virality and maximum reach via live streaming. The video was viewed less than 200 times during the live broadcast. No users reported the video during the live broadcast. Including the views during the live broadcast, the video was viewed about 4,000 times in total before being removed from Facebook. However, According to Facebook, in the first 24 hours, it was removed about 1.5 million times, copies of this video of the attack globally. More than 1.2 million of those videos were blocked at upload and were therefore prevented from being seen on their services. What I have just outlined above are serious and quick adverse consequences of viral and false information. We would be naive to assume that Singapore would be immune to this. Therefore, when one considers what is the right decision-making body to quickly move and counteract the effects and spread of false information, speed and effectiveness must be paramount. That is precisely what the Select Committee, with representation from both sides of the House, had accepted. I believe in circumstances where false information is undermining Singapore's public interests, it is the executive which should be empowered to act. They can do so swiftly and decisively to protect Singaporeans against such falsehood. In 2014, analysis by Pew Research Center found Singapore to be the world's most religiously diverse nation. Despite our diversity, Singapore had enjoyed peace and religious harmony for over 50 years since independence. Hence, we cannot take any chances and take the stability and security we enjoy for granted. On technological trends in disseminating online falsehood. In today's world, online falsehood are weaponized to be used against country by state and non-state actors. The online information space and the social media are a key battlefield in a new conception of warfare. Now there is no need for war to be declared, with the blurring of boundaries between wartime and peacetime. New dynamics brought by technological advancement is an area of concern for any government looking into legislation to combat online falsehood. Justice ministers in 3 German states have proposed using anti-botnet legislation to crack down on automated social media accounts or bots which spread online falsehood. Botnets are suspected to have engineered voter sentiments during recent events such as the United Kingdom, European Union membership referendum, and the 2016 US elections. As technology is always ahead of regulations, we should develop the ability to respond swiftly and robustly before they can cause harm to Singaporeans. In an information-rich world, the most effective response to disinformation is literacy. As highlighted by the Honourable Education Minister, media literacy is essential for end users to be able to spot obvious fakes. In future, artificial intelligence-powered solutions may help us distinguish high-quality news sources and content from bogus ones, and even spot potential political motivations behind the propagation of certain news. One area of concern I would like to raise in this House is the issue of deep fakes, which is increasingly becoming a problem, as highlighted by the Minister earlier. Political speech and even imageries can easily be manipulated at low cost with professional quality. In order to successfully tackle the problem, I urge the government to keep an eye out for emerging disruptive technologies such as deep learning and generative adversarial networks, which make it possible to manipulate images and videos so well that it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to distinguish fake from authentic ones. In fact, apps like Fake Apps and Lyrebird have made the production of deepfakes accessible to anyone. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, it is very difficult to write a bill like POFMA. It needs to be comprehensive and extremely well considered if we are to protect Singaporeans as well as their rights to freedom of choice in the digital age. I am confident that the government will place peace, harmony and safety of Singapore at its heart and do the best as Singaporeans and for Singaporeans, and be counted upon to steward these considerable powers in a fair, consistent and thoughtful manner, consistent with our democratic values and our duty to protect Singaporeans from the ill effects of online falsehood. Mr. Speaker, I support the bill.